May all sentient beings come into the divine presence. The source of all gives life, and the light of God illumines our consciousness. May all sentient beings realize the truth of our existence. The grace of divine love provides us goodness in abundance, and we are grateful. May all sentient beings walk in gratitude and reflect love into the world. The wonder of creation brings forth beauty and surrounds us with shining miracles constantly. May all sentient beings experience the perfection in all life and live in the understanding of peace. God is life, love, goodness, beauty, wonder, and perfect peace. May all sentient beings live as one in the presence. Amen.
For today, our speaker is Reverend Jennifer Hutchins. She is the founder of Unity Arts Ministry. In addition to guest speaking, she facilitates creative workshops, classes, and retreat experiences, both online and in person for spiritual centers across the country. Her mission is to inspire self-reflection and personal transformation through spiritual principles and the healing power of art. And today, with the talk title of Creating with Love, I'm going to welcome Reverend Jen Hutchins, and we're going to
the creative expression of love. As an artist, I truly appreciate all the many ways that individuals have expressed love through their creative work throughout history, right? When we think about the Beatles composing All You Need Is Love, or we think about Rumi's poetry dedicated to the beloved, or we think about art in all forms. I'm thinking of paintings by Gustav Klimt and that sense of romantic love that he represents. Today, we're going to be talking about love and the many different ways that love shows up in our lives, including the love of our pets as we welcome my cat Frida into the mix today. She will likely be throwing her tail right in front of my face to show you all how much she loves me. So love shows up in so many ways in our lives, as an emotion, as an action, and as divine love. Today, I'm going to be giving you the opportunity to be like the Beatles and like Rumi and use creative expression as a way to deepen your own awareness of love in your life. Now, don't worry for those of you who may not be super comfortable with creative, especially visual materials. We're going to be doing something really simple today using a pen and a piece of paper. If you don't already have that handy, don't worry, I'll give you time to grab it. And you can also do this as a visual, just imagining in your mind, using that power of imagination. So we'll talk a little bit more about the project as we move forward, but you all get to lean into that creative aspect today as part of our process. So changing things up a little bit for Sunday morning. So I believe, and I have experienced time and time again in my life, that what we hold in our hearts becomes outwardly expressed in our lives. And that can be something that is, a visual, right? It could be a poem, it could be a song. What's here, we can then express outward through creative expression. But we can also work with sort of the creative powers of the universe. What we hold in our hearts becomes expressed in our lives, and sometimes not through our conscious activities. How many here today have thought of a friend or a loved one that they haven't communicated with in a while, and shortly after thinking of them, the phone rings and there they are on the phone, right? Or we think about, I haven't had that experience in a while, maybe really want to get out and hear music again, hear a live performance. And we have this thought, and later in the week, a friend calls and says, hey, I've got an extra ticket to this outdoor concert. You want to come with me? Right? Sometimes moving into that power of love can be as simple as a thought, simple as a thought. And it's a creative thought that we put out into the universe, and we get to create our lives, our worlds, and our relationships with the power of love. So if you're on board for that, stay tuned. Here's what we're doing today. So first off, I want to talk about love. What is love? What is love? A many splendid thing, yes. I think one thing, when we think of love in terms of an emotion, a feeling. We can feel love towards another person. We feel love towards a romantic partner, towards our children, towards our parents, or not, depending on the day. And we can feel love towards our friends. We can feel love towards strangers. We can feel love for an experience. I was talking earlier about how I grew up near the ocean. I love the ocean. I love the ocean. We may have things in our lives that we love. We even have like a childhood toy or blanket that you remember, like just that sense of comfort and love. So love can be this emotional experience, a feeling that we have. But love can also be an action. It can be a verb, to give love, to receive love, to love outwardly, or we could love ourselves, sharing self-care activities. And we can give love toward the divine. As I said, Rumi's poetry is a beautiful example of that, giving love. Love is another aspect of being, and I believe that is our divine source. Like I said earlier, in that description of what is God, one of those descriptors is love. God is love. It is the spiritual oneness that pervades everything in the universe. And so today we're going to talk about yet another way of using this, but it's tapping into that spiritual oneness. And that's using love as a creative tool. The power of love itself is that ability to attract, to bring harmony, to unify. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore described love as the power that binds together the whole human family. So we have this power, right, that's binding us all together, not only with each other, with all of nature, and with all of the divine. And when we lean into this power, truly lean into it in our lives, we are then co-creating with that energy. It becomes a beautiful, beautiful practice of creative energy out in expression. So where does love come from, right? We talked about love can be an experience, a relationship. So we might experience love in our human experience with another person. But we're missing the entirety of what love can be if we are waiting for somebody else to give us love. If we are thinking that love exists outside somewhere, like you need to show me love to give me love. And once you give it to me, now I have it and I can use it in some way. Love in actuality and truth comes from within, right? If love is our source, that source from which we are brought into being, the breath that we are breathing, then that love is within us and we can tap into it at any time. Love is the truth, that core of our being. And one of the beautiful things about that is that it means that love is inexhaustible. We can keep using love all the time, and it's never going to run out. Now, as an artist, I know sometimes I have concerns over, how much paint do I have left? Oh, I'm running out of cadmium yellow. I need to go buy some more, But love isn't like that. It's not like that yellow tube of paint. It's not going to run out. I can keep going. I can keep creating with it, no matter what. So that's pretty powerful. Love continues to be all the time, just like the sun continues to shine. So even when we have moments in our lives where we may feel disconnected from love in some way, right? We've all had moments of grief or sadness in our lives, or moments of overwhelm in our lives where we're going in so many different directions that we might forget or not be leaning into that feeling of love. But love is still there. Love is still there. And we can remember, just on a cloudy day, right? We can remember the sun is still there. Like maybe today is cloudy and today I can just feel whatever feelings I'm feeling. I can feel that sadness. I can just be present to it. But I know and I have faith that behind those clouds, that sun is still there and it will shine again. And it's the same thing for us, right? To know that love is always there. It is always accessible to us, even on those dark days. And when we lean into this awareness of love and we begin creating consciously, and it's going to turn up some subconsciously as well, when we start creating with love in this way, we'll have even that greater sense of the next time it's really cloudy and everything seems to be going wrong, everything seems to be bombarding us all at the same time, we can remember how bright that light was, just the day before. And remember to lean back into that, right? It increases our faith as well. So it is love that enables us to live in harmony with all of the universe, with everyone here today, to be part of this community, to feel that sense of connection. It's love that heals, love that prospers, love that attracts and holds and makes real all good ideas. I want to share with you a poem by Rumi. As I mentioned Rumi a couple of times today. And this is Ode 314. I want you to really lean into these words and his honoring of the beloved in these words and that sense of love. Those who don't feel this love pulling them like a river, those who don't drink dawn like a cup of spring water, or take in the sunset like supper, those who don't want change, let them sleep. This love is beyond the study of theology, that old trickery and hypocrisy. If you want to improve your mind that way, sleep on. I've given up on my brain. I've torn the clothes to shreds and thrown it away. If you're not completely naked, wrap your beautiful robe of words around you and sleep. Take that in. And those of us that have been on a spiritual journey, those of us that have been called to lean into love. This love that invites us to be transformed. This love that pulls us like a river. This love that invites us to lay down the mind of logic and to lean into the wisdom of the heart. Love is a gift that we activate within ourselves. When we express love, we feel love. Just think for one moment about someone that you love. Hold them in your heart. Maybe it's somebody you see on the screen, someone in your home, someone at a distance. Now, just thinking of them, do you not feel love? Just a thought can activate this power in our lives. And when we consciously use love as a creative tool, then we can create change not only in our lives, right? That thought created a change. That thought elevated us to a different level. but we can also use this tool to create change in the world that we live in. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a creative activity to really deepen that sense of what I hold in my heart is expressed in my world. And I shared with you my image of the hand here, because when we think of our hand, right, we think action, we think what's going out into the world. What are these hands giving or doing in the world? So our hand, thank you, Greg, our hand becomes a very personal creative tool, right? Something that we are connected with, that we are linked with. So all you are going to need is love, pen, and a piece of paper. So if you don't already have a pen and piece of paper with you and you would like them, go ahead and take a moment. We won't judge. Get up, scurry across, grab something. You just need a piece of paper that's large enough to put your hand on, right? So if you're looking for something, you can't find it, grab a napkin, right? I mean, like, use whatever you have on hand, something that's close by. And if you don't have pen and paper handy, or you choose not to use them, as I said, you can do this as a visual activity. I will be leading you through meditation and the activity itself. So you can visualize in your mind, what would this be like to trace out my hand? What would this be like to think of this love radiating? Giving a moment here for our friends who are off getting their papers. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up an image so you can see my drawing a little bit more clearly. I know sometimes when you share something on Zoom using the video, it's a little fuzzy and it's hard to see. So I want to show here, all I've done was I traced my hand, and we'll be tracing our hands before we begin our meditation. And then during the meditation, I'm going to really invite you to lean into your heart center, that center of love. Of course, our entire being is love, but when we think of the energy center of love, it's at that heart space. And then as we're coming out of meditation, I'm going to invite you to think about how that love is radiated out into your world. So that radiating energy that's coming off the hand that we're putting out into the world, what are we creating, sharing, acting on, and how is that showing up? In the sample that I have here, what came to me were hearts representing the love itself, spirals representing the many ways that things show up, and they keep showing up, right? We keep coming back to things. And then also for me, leaves showed up because it was this symbol of nature and symbol of caring for nature, and also just being a part of this earthly experience. So we'll be, again, guided into what are some of the symbols, some of the imagery that's coming up for you as you're expressing them. I also chose to add some words on here that'll be optional for you. So does everyone who wants it have their pen and paper handy? Yes, okay. I'm going to invite you to trace your hand. Now, some of you might not have done this since you were in elementary school. So the easiest way to do this is to put your non-dominant hand on the paper and spread your fingers out, and to take your dominant hand and to use your pen and just trace around your hand. All right, and when you're done with that, you can go ahead and put your pen down and put your paper to the side just for a moment as we begin to lean into our time of meditation. So wherever you are, I invite you to notice the body first. Notice if there's any tension. If you need to roll those shoulders, go ahead, let yourself do that, right? Stretch your neck, adjust your hips. Sometimes we forget the body and then we try to meditate and we're like, oh, my back hurts, my back hurts. And so take the moment, roll that out. And then allow your body to sink into the space where it is, to feel yourself supported. Notice what that feels like, to simply allow your body to be fully supported, to be grounded, your feet on the floor. If it's comfortable to you, I invite you to close your outer eyes. If you prefer to leave them open, to find something to use as a centering point, something that you can let your gaze fall lightly upon. And we begin now to bring our awareness inward. And just take a moment to notice the mind. Sometimes our mind has many, many things to say to us. So simply notice if it's being active right now, if it is already at peace. And if you notice a lot of activity there, make a note to your mind that you will come back after our session and take some time to listen, to really listen to what's going on there. But right now, we invite the mind to simply rest. We begin to bring our awareness now to our heart center. If it feels comfortable to you, you may wish to place your hands over your heart, or simply leave them resting in your lap or beside you. And begin by just bringing awareness to the heart center. What do you notice here? Is there a sense of tightness or an expansion? Is there a temperature associated with your heart center? Is there a color that you might associate with the energy of the heart? Simply notice how you are using your senses to presence the heart space within you. And now I invite you to breathe into that space, letting the breath be a cleansing tool, releasing anything that is holding your heart energy back from fully expressing in the world. Breathing in divine love, releasing any tension. And as we use the breath to cleanse, I invite you to imagine a light expanding from the center of your heart. Notice this heart energy. Perhaps there's a warmth associated with it. As we move into our time of silence, I invite you to simply rest with the energy and the light of the heart. Breathing in, breathing out, and resting in divine love. We rest in the silence. And in this space of silence, I invite you to listen to the wisdom of your heart. Listen to hear what your heart seeks to express more fully in the world. Trusting your divine intuition. Notice if there are any symbols or words associated with what the heart seeks to express in the world. And with gratitude, we thank divine love for guidance, for showing us what is wishing to be created, and knowing and trusting the action steps to do so. Use the breath now to bring ourselves back to this present moment awareness, taking this gift of the heart with us as we wiggle our toes and our fingers and we blink open our eyes. Thank you, Divine Spirit, for guiding us in all ways, always. And now I invite you, if you are using the creative and visual, to pick up your pen again and to draw or create as though from your hand itself, you are radiating this love energy that you are feeling in the heart. Think of simple symbols, something that might have come up for you, or wavy lines or zigzags, lightning bolts, flowers of peace. And if there are no visuals there, perhaps there are words, a note of guidance. What is the heart wishing to express? And we'll just take a moment for this, about a minute. And knowing that we can always come back and add more to this creative expression. I invite you just to take a moment and reflect on, how did that feel? How does it feel now to look at what you've created? Or again, if you were doing this activity in your mind, how did it feel to visualize that love extending? Just notice. Now I invite you to stay after service today for our coffee talk time. And during that time, I'd also like to invite people to share their drawings if you feel called to share, or just to share what that experience felt like for you. That'll be a great time for us to connect on that level and to share what our hearts are creating out into the world together. I'm going to close with an affirmation. And this is a play along, so you get to join me in this one. So we're going to use our hands, just as we're doing in our drawing. We're going to put our hands over our hearts and repeat after me. You can keep your microphone off, but repeat where you are. What I hold in my heart is expressed in my life. Let's do that one more time together. Y'all are doing a beautiful job. What I hold in my heart is expressed in my life. And so it is. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Jan. That was just lovely.